Howdy everybody out there in YouTube world. We're going to talk about winterizing your motorcycle. Yeah, winterization. I know it's a hard thing to believe for all you people living out there in California and Florida, but some of us up in the Northeast, Chicago area, I guess, are probably going to be winterizing their bikes or doing some form of winterization to their bikes. I don't ride my bike year round. It's just too dangerous with the snow and ice and all that stuff up here in the Northeast. So let's go over it. First thing I like to do is take it for a nice, good, long, hard ride. Get your engine nice and hot, warm it up. And what that will do is that'll get any moisture that's built up in the oil and stuff like that or inside the engine, it'll help it evaporate. Also, if you have a chain, that'll also get the chain warmed up. So later on, when you wax your chain, it'll help the wax melt and get into the chain, you know, much better. Now, back in the day, motorcycles had carburetors on them. We used to drain the carburetors. We used to drain the fuel out of the tanks. That way, you'd make sure there's nothing in them. You know, there was no way that the gasoline was going to varnish or go bad on you and stuff like that because the whole system would be cleared out. Nowadays, bikes have fuel injectors. This bike's fuel injected, and this is a 2004, so most bikes today are fuel injected, and it's just a hassle to try to get the fuel out of the system. But you could drain the tank. You know, how are you going to drain out the fuel injectors and all that? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just not something I'm willing to do. Too time consuming. So what I like to do is I take the fuel, and I treat it with fuel treatment, you know, especially with today's gasolines like the ethanol and stuff like that, that's inside the fuel. My understanding is over time, ethanol likes to separate. So treat your fuel. Just put in a ethanol treatment or gas treatment. Get it at any hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's. You can get them at your lawn and garden stores. Or you can even get them at Walmart or even Amazon. The other thing is you want to top off your tank. Top it to the very top. The reason being is if you have any airspace in your tank, moisture is going to build up, which will ruin your fuel over time. So top the tank off, treat it, and then the final step with that would be run your motorcycle. Run it, get that fuel going through the fuel lines and into the ejectors. And you shouldn't have any problems with the fuel after that. You know, if the bike sits for like up to 6 months, it should be okay. As soon as you come back from that long ride, lube your chain. Just do it right away because it's nice and warm. If you're using a good lube wax, it'll melt right into the chain. So get that done first, clean it and lube it. Next thing, depends on what you're going to do with your bike. If you're going to ride your bike through the winter, let's say the roads are clear and you like to ride in the wintertime, God bless you, change your fluids according to your maintenance plan. But if you're like me, you're just going to put it away, go ahead and change all your fluids. That's the transmission, the engine, primary. And if you have a final drive on your bike, say it's not a chain and it's not a belt, it's a shaft drive bike, go ahead and change that fluid also. If you're not going to ride your bike at all, you're just going to let it sit in storage and never ride it again, you want to take the spark plugs out and put in what's called fogging oil. And what the idea with that is it's a spray and it spreads out when you spray it into the cylinders. It lubricates everything in there. Now, if you don't have any fogging oil, you can use a teaspoon of oil, regular motor oil. It'll help coat the pistons and the rings and stuff. Not as good as the fogging oil, I think, but that'll work too. Now, I don't do any of that. I don't fog my cylinders. I don't oil my cylinders. My bike doesn't sit constantly throughout the whole winter. Every now and then I get bored. I'll come out here. I'll start up the motorcycle. And what that does is it keeps the pistons and everything oiled up. But like I said, if you're not going to do any of that, you're not going to start your bike up, you're not going to do any of that stuff, go ahead and fog your cylinders with some oil. All right? Or put a couple of teaspoons of oil in each cylinder. And then put your spark plugs back. The other thing you want to do, or that I like to do, is wash and wax your bike. After you change your fluids, you fog your cylinders, go ahead and give the bike a good wash and wax. What's going to happen is the wax is going to protect the paint, protect the chrome, protect the aluminum. Use your protectants. I use wax on everything, and it seems to do a good job. I know there's different brands and different stuff out there for chrome and aluminum, and you do what you want to do, you know, but protect it somehow. Put some protector on your stuff. That way, if moisture does build up in your garage or stuff, it'll protect, it'll keep it from rusting, it'll protect the paint and all that stuff. I don't think I need to say any more on that. One other thing is these seats also protect the seats. All right, these are vinyl. They can crack with the cold. Like my garage is not heated, so it gets cold in there, you know what I mean? And vinyl tends to crack. So what you want to do is you just put a good coat of vinyl protectant on there for the winter time. All right, coat your seat. That way it'll be nice and supple when you sit on it in spring. And it'll be ready for you. It won't crack. All right, the last thing on the bike is the battery. All right, you want to maintain the battery. Unless you want to buy a new battery in the spring, you want to put a battery tender on there, which is nothing but a battery charger, but it's smart enough to know when the battery's fully charged and when it needs a charge. And it does it at a slow process. So it doesn't hurt the battery. I'm not going to get into all the details as to why it's better, this and that, but a battery tender is what you need. You got to hook it up to your battery. They come with, when you buy a good battery tender, they come with two types of hookups. They got the alligator clips. You can just take the seat out and clip them on. I have the pigtail where I installed it right on the battery, and it sticks out the side of my bike, so I can just hook it up whenever I need to hook up a battery charger or a battery tender to the bike. Real simple. It's a little bit of work to get the seat out and hook it to the battery, but once that's done, you don't have to do that ever again. All you do is you pull the pigtail out, connect it to your tender, and you're done. My bike's going to be in the garage. I already told you that. So it's not going to get hit with snow and everything else. I can cover this if I want to. I don't cover my bike in the garage. I don't care if it gets a little dusty and whatnot. Even with a cover on it, I find that it still gets dusty and all that stuff. So if you're going to keep your bike outside all winter, I don't recommend you cover it. I know there's guys out there that like to cover their bikes. It's outside on the road. I really think your best bet is to leave it uncovered. What happens is with the covers, they build up moisture underneath them. They don't release moisture fast enough to prevent your bike from rusting. It's like a moisture trap. I don't care what the covers say. Some say, oh yeah, they're good with moisture, blah, 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 or moisture evaporates. I don't know, whatever they claim, it doesn't work. I had a Yamaha way back in the day. I kept that bike out year round. And one winter was really bad. I kept the cover on it. And by the time the summer came around, everything was just rusted and the aluminum was just corroded. It was a mess. So I'll never cover another bike again if I leave it out. Never. I'll let the rain fall on it, let the snow fall on it. I know it's going to look bad. Your bike's out there, it's covered in snow. But I'm telling you, it's the best bet. Don't cover your bike. That way the moisture doesn't stay stuck on your bike underneath the cover and starts rusting, you know, and damaging the paint and all that. The other thing is, if you're going to leave your bike outside, take the seats off. Vinyl does not do well with extreme temperatures. And take your battery out of the bike and bring it inside, and then put your tender on it. So that's pretty much all I have to say on winterization. Look, folks, I'm not doing a fancy video here. I'm just telling you how to winterize your bike. I'm not breaking out the spray cans and all that and doing fancy stuff. I'm giving you straight video on how to winterize your bike. Okay, and the basics are, I'm gonna go over them one more time. Ride the bike, get it good and hot. If you have a chain, wax it at that point when you get back from that ride. Top off your gas tank. Put in a fuel stabilizer. Once you stabilize your fuel, run the motor. Start it up, let that stabilized fuel that's in the tank run through the fuel system. Replace all your fluids if you're not going to run your bike. If you're still going to use your bike in the winter time, just do your regular maintenance. Wash and wax your bike, right, to protect all the paint and the aluminum and chrome. Fog the cylinders if you're not going to be riding your bike. Figure out where you're going to store it, because based on that, it depends on what you're going to do to your bike. If you're going to put it in a garage somewhere, hook up your battery tender, and don't forget to protect your vinyl. And if you're going to leave it outside, I recommend you take your seats off. Okay, anything that's vinyl, take it off. Take the battery out, bring it inside, put it on the tender. All right, any questions, comments, put them down below. I'll see if I can get to them. But that's your basic winterization. There's really not a lot to do. I know it sounds like a big list, but it's really not bad at all. A lot of this stuff is stuff that you're already doing. So it's really not much more. The fluids you're already changing, the wash and wax you're doing already, the vinyl protectant you're probably doing. The only thing that you're not doing on an everyday basis is fogging the cylinders and putting it on a battery tender. That's pretty much it. All right, folks, take care.